Hi everybody. Hello. Sanibonani. Welcome to my channel. Igama lami nguNtando Mdletshe, and on this channel siyayifunda iy'ncwadi ebhalwe ngolimi lwethu lwesiZulu bese siza la sizoyixoxa le nto esuke siyifundile, senzela laba phela abasuke bengenaso isikhathi sokuthi bazifunde le y'ncwadi nalaba nje abanqenayo nje ukufunda. Siyaphinda futhi sibuka ama-reality shows ethu ala eMzansi bese siza la sizokwenza ama-recaps or ama-reviews alama episodes, senzela laba phela abangalitholi ithuba lokuthi bawabuke lama-shows nalaba nje abasuke befuna ukukhuluma ngawo ama-shows after sebewabukile. Uma ngabe uyaqala usijoyina namhlanje and you really like our content, please don't forget to subscribe la ngezansi. Uma ngabe ibhathini elibhalwe subscribe libomvu kusho ukuthi awukazi uzusubscribe, kodwa uma li-grey kusho ukuthi ususubscribe-ile. Ungakhohlwa phela ukupressa i-notification bell la eduze kuka-subscribe ukuze phela uthole umyalezo uma ngabe umsebenzi omusha sesiwufakile. Guys, I watched Real Housewives of Durban Izolo, episode 4. Actually, I wanted to do this review Izolo, but hey, yeah. Hey, guys, our parents never told us to being a parent. They should have told us. In fact, in schools, there must be a subject called Do Not Dare Have Kids. This is a very important subject that they don't have in schools. Just warning us from like grade 1, they must just be warning you to do not have kids. Do not have. And in the assembly, they must have a section that is called Do Not Have Kids. Because otherwise, you're not going to be able to do your YouTube videos when you want to do your YouTube videos because you are a mother. But okay, finally, I get to sit here and talk about what's going on again in our episode, Real Housewives of Durban, episode 4. Guys, I did do a video about Usorisha Naidu not necessarily having a storyline this season, and that's really because they are giving us a little bit of Usorisha Naidu kule episode lena. Listen, like I said, guys, and when Ulachongo made that comment about ilokhuzana about ukufika kukaMakhumalo, I did say ukuthi it doesn't necessarily mean ukuthi the other wives didn't make a negative comments towards ukufika kukaMakhumalo. It's just that at the end of last episode, which was episode 3, the comment that was edited into that episode was ilokhuzana comment kalachoncho, and vele it was strategic on the producers side ukuthi benze kanjalo. They wanted us to do what we did, which was talk about Lachonto's comment the whole weekend and the whole week. And then we found out today, yesterday, it wasn't just Lachonto that made a comment that wasn't so negative. The other wives did as well. Especially Ulonto. Ulonto was like, Kanti lab. She did. She was like, Kanti lab. And that really shows it wasn't just Lachonto who expected something bigger than someone bigger than just Makhumalo. They were all underwhelmed. Let me say that they were all underwhelmed. It looked like umuntu who might have had an idea ukuthi Makhumalo ozayo, uSorisha, but the rest of them didn't. Last week, ipheli episode, uMakhumalo engena laphayana black tie event, he made an entrance with the husband. People were not so impressed. You could see it in their faces that they're like, kanti laba. And yeah, so today in this episode, kuqhubeka lapho ke. And uMakhumalo ungenile was introducer and her husband. She talks about having moved to Umhlanga and wanting to meet the ladies since they live in Umhlanga and getting to know them and making new friends. And yeah, so akasahlala eMzumbe ke ulokhuzana uMakhumalo. She did say ukuthi she was anxious a bit about reception of the other wives. And I mean, you can understand because abantu they were waiting to see ukuthi ubani ozayo, and then there comes you. And then uyabuza lapha ulachenga ukuthi, so what is the agenda today? Kahle kahle sibizelweni lana, you know. Kahle kahle sibizelweni lana. And yeah, they just said because ayikho agenda. There is a point where Umseleko says, no, the agenda is just for my wife to make some friends. And I know what a lot of people have been saying, abakamseleko, they seem to be pushing isithembi on people. And again, I understand the position now because honestly, most of the conversation on the table ended up being about isithembu. Kodwa guys, to be fair, in their defense, they are not the ones abaqale ukukhuluma about isithembu. It was Ulachonco who brought it up because she sort of asked the question, is it about, is the agenda about isithembu? You know what I mean? And a conversation iqale lapho. Ulachonco who prompted the conversation about isithembu. And the response kaMakhumalo was like, you know what, ne? Mina bengithi you'll be on my side because uyazi ngisithembu. To which ulona ulaxoxo became defensive and he was like, hayi bo mina uke wangibona yini ngishadele esithenjini. But ucishe washada esithenjini. If the former president azange azakwale, then you would have been married to allegedly, by the way, you would have been married to Ilokuzana, Isthembu. And then at some point, I think they realized because they're talking about something that is not really being received by everybody. At some point, like Chongo responded to say, I mean, look at Annie's face to see if abantu bayithanda lento okhuluma ngayo or not. And Annie was just not impressed at all. And then Makumalo said that statement. So I mean, really, and if you're married to a black guy, I mean, expect anything. Honestly, I don't know what she means, Makumalo, because even Emandulo, when isithembu really like bekuyisona abantu abasebenzisayo kakhulu, even Emandulo, not every Zulu man had isithembu. So I really don't know what she's talking about. Ukuthi ushade nomZulu doesn't mean ukuthi you must expect isithembu. And also if ukuthi umuntu ufuna ukuthatha isithembu, it doesn't mean that you will accept wena isithembu. But then relationship, Ilona, conversation went on and then turned on because Ulona, Nonku said, she would prefer, like, she's very jealous. eh, so she would prefer ukuthi umuntu menza into with another woman angamtsheli. Leyo ukuthi nje uzomtshela openly ukuthi they are taking another wife, akayiboni. And but then everyone says, "Hayi bo, but that's cheating," and she's like, "Yeah, anyway, all men cheat. So kungcono ukuthi a-cheat kunokuthi angitshele ukuthi uthatha omunye unkosikazi." And then everyone was like, "No, but that's not true. Ukuthi men cheat," and she was like, "No, all black men cheat." And she said, "Ukuthi all black men cheat, and then all white men buy," meaning ukuthi I guess they use prostitutes, and that was that statement. I mean, I guess I could understand Unonku saying that from a perspective of sometimes when you've gone through things, when you've gone through several relationships as a woman, and all the men that you've been in a relationship with have cheated, and maybe even, and then the white guys that you've been in relationships with, if she's been with white guys, or friends that you've seen being in relationships with white guys, have had an experience where their husbands went and bought from prostitutes, you would think that's your belief, that's what she believes in. She emphasizes she left her relationship because her ex was abusive. But had the issue been he cheated, she even said her ex cheated a number of times. Sometimes she would pretend as if she didn't see. So she says that wouldn't have been an issue that she would leave for. She only left because the relationship was abusive. Obviously, Georgia was not very impressed of that one because she's married to a white guy. So, and she's the only one. They're the only couple at the table that is white. So obviously, she took offense because you know what, you can't say that about my husband. You can't generalize like that. And I like Jojo's husband honestly because she just lets Jojo be. And I guess she trusts what Jojo can defend herself. He doesn't involve himself too much in their conversation. And when there's a joke to laugh at, he laughs at a joke, and he's just there to support his wife. She was very offended, and she was like, "Tunongo, you know what? Shut up." She shut up. She was like, you can't as a single woman tell a happily married woman who's your husband will cheat on you, because that's basically what Unongo is saying. So it became very tense at the table because of that. UMusamseleke, you all know ukuthi he likes advertising his team. We was asking the men, they don't awungikhaleli mina ukuthi ube namakhosikazi more than one, just like me. How can you ube nonkosikazi umbone nge-lunch, umbone nge-breakfast, umbone nge-lunch, umbone nge-supper? What kind of a question is that? So if you see your wife nge-breakfast, you don't want to see her nge-lunch. You want to see another one nge-lunch and see another one I know. Hey, yeah. Here's the thing. I mean, I think with NA, they should have found a way to change the conversation and talk about something else, but it became difficult because everything became focused on that. They were telling N it was just because she's married to umuntu omnyama, she must expect anything, which meaning with her husband might want to take another wife. And N was like, no, I'm very sure that you won't do that because I will not accept something like that. He is mine and mine alone. And she was not impressed by that. And then uLachoncho asked the question that really confused me. And ingenza ngafeel ngathi hayi uLachoncho is a hypocrite kancane, because she asked the question, she says, because angithi bathi ene ithembu is not cheating. Okay, so she asked the question ukuthi, okay-ke Baba Mseleko, ngenkathi okay, you are married ne, ngenkathi usayishela intombi, you know, and then niqomane and whatever, awukaka-decide noma uyayithatha or not, ukubiza ngani lokho? Is that not cheating na? You know, uyibiza ngani leyo process leyo, because you are married, and ngeke ukuthi ukubona umuntu emgwaqweni bese uyamthatha as unkosikazi wakho. Uyambona emgwaqweni nijole and all that, and then you decide ukuthi uzomthatha njengonkosikazi wakho. What is that called? It was a valid question to for Ulachongo to ask, but it surprised me that she's the one that asked that question, because naye washelwa waluzuma had his wives, washelwa and waqoma, and then you know wathandana no-president baze balobolana waze wathola ingane. It's like if her point was that period is called cheating, then that means naye the former president was cheating with her on his wives. And I just didn't understand why she asked that question. What did she mean? I would like to her ukuthi yena elaborate ukuthi kahle kahle ubechaza ukuthini. But overall, uMakhumalo felt like the event went well. I don't think that the others were impressed by the event. Honestly, Ulachoncho at the end, she did say, you know what? Um, she should have just invited us sizifakele ophaqa ney'ngubo zethu ezi-casually and just enze i-price and get to know us. Le nto yokuthi kuze kube mystery and all of that just so she can be the one to show up, it just didn't make sense. Uthe kudlalwe ngabo. Nami I understood that ukuthi why all the mystery, you know. And at some point, guys, listen, you know, listen, listen to this point, because you might need this point that I'm gonna make now later on. There is something about it has been Sorisha of Vivian Naidu, because when they were having this conversation about isthembu, Musamselego says, you know what, I wish Vivian was here to defend me. And if you remember, season one, if it was not Ulachongo, it was Ayanda Ncwane who said ukuthi to Sorisha ukuthi konje nawe ukwisithembu esho kuSorisha. And uSorisha was also confused with what do you mean ngikwisithembu? Angikho mina kwisithembu. Now it's almost I'm telling you saying, I wish Ulona Vivian was here because he will understand me, he will defend me. There is something that's going on with Vivian Naidu that Usorisha doesn't know about. Angazi noma mhlampe une-relationship outside of his marriage, because even Usorisha was surprised ukuthi Vivian would know ulokhuzana uMusamseleko and yena angazi ukuthi uyamazi uMusamseleko. And also, guys, if you can go and watch that clip where Usorisha Nadu talks to her husband about the event, and I see ukuthi wena you don't think ukuthi Vivian Naidu looks a little bit dodgy, and ngathi unamahloni about discussing that particular topic on TV. I'm worried about it. I feel like something is gonna come up when it comes to Vivian Naidu. His reaction to it, and let ukuthi aloke mention to his team. No, when we know ukuthi he only has one wife, iyasoliza ukuthi something is going on. So kube naleyo lokhuzana naleyo conflict-ke nyana yokuphikisana but bechazelana their point of views until they turn into speaking isiZulu-ke, which u-Annie also has a problem with ukuthi if you go to invite me ngingas-understand isiZulu, why would you speak Zulu at a table? Listen guys, ngumZulu, so mhlampe ngizoba biased lana. I think ukuthi sometimes nathi ku-unfair ukuthi silindeleke ukuthi wherever we go we are going to speak English. You know, it's like it's expected ukuthi nathi as Africans, whether umZulu or umVenda or umSotho or uMpedi or whatever, mengabe sisezindaweni, is it fair ukuthi thina we are expected to accommodate abantu sikhulume ilokhuzana English when people do not take the time to learn our languages bona? You know, no, when they can speak just one language, ilokhuzana English, and by expect also wherever they go, they'll understand what's going on because thina as abantu abamnyama sizoba accommodate when we do ama-functions and events, we'll accommodate them and speak English because they don't understand Zulu. But thina we go to events where they speak English without even asking if we understand ilokhuzana English. So ngikabili nge-issue ka-Annie ukuthi is she always gonna go around and be accommodated? Because honestly guys, sometimes ngifuna ukuzikhulumela isiZulu. That's why even umuntu when they are around me and they start speaking isiVenda, I'm not gonna say anything. I let them speak isiVenda. I will not understand what they're saying, but the language yabo nabo bafuna ukuyikhuluma at that time. But she had that issue ukuthi why would you not tolika for us if uzokhuluma isiZulu at the event? Okay, so now there is a scene kaSorisha Naidu with-ke umkhwenyana wakhe ulokhuzana uVivian Naidu. When the conversation starts, they're at their house by the porch, I think, and uqala khuluma nje ngezinto ze-economy, the value of irandi ini, and he was like in a board meeting with his wife, in the morning having breakfast. And then you go, sorry, I'm updating about the event. They waited very long, but the event went well. So then she starts talking about Umselegu, and Vivian says, "Oh no, yeah, I know Ulokuzana, I know Musa Umselegu. I hosted him with Durban July." Vivian Naidu hosted uMusa Mseleku with Durban July, but Ulona Sorisha Naidu doesn't know anything about it. Guys, am I the only one who thinks something is suspicious there? You know, something is suspicious there. Ukuthi they hosted each other. Remember, ukuthi uMseleko not only is he married to 4 wives, but uhlezi esho ukuthi unama-girlfriends, unezancinza yena. So, who was there? Who else was there? And honestly, Vivian looked very suspicious to me. Bengazi ukuthi unamahloni to discuss that issue, and they start talking about indaba yelokhuzana isithembu. I think uSolushana just wanted to make sure that her husband understands because this is not something he can even think about. She's not interested in that. And now Vivian was like, no, I don't have an intention to. It feels weird to me, relationship of Vivian Naidu and Sorisha Naidu right now, especially when it comes to this issue guys. I would like to know what's Bazana Gupi, La, where they think what they understand each other, number issues, and okay, the next scene is Zula Chongo Lapana was meeting with Umabusi. I was so happy to see Umabusi and Londi London. They're getting to know each other. They talk about the event. Ulondi London because I like they're such a good mix. But when they're together, they have such fun conversations. So they're telling Umabusi all the scoop. Hey, Salinda. How? Mase Kamu host, we're like, how kanti laba kanti laba. And then she says, and then they say, oh, mabesa introduce son. The issue was, Umabuso was like, oh, I know you, but I know you from Instagram. And then she asked, who are you married to? We are showing what the husband's name is, Ulonde. And she's like, I know you from the streets. Hey, we are tired, Umabuso from the streets. And then like talk to herself, you know when you say you know someone, you can't say you know someone's fiance from the streets. Yeah, Ulondilanda was not really impressed by that, but it didn't become a thing. But I do think also maybe sometimes she's going to talk about it too. So then I guess they were curious, the other girls would see what is the issue between Ulachongo and Khumalo. And so she finally explains it and she says, Chongo, the reason she has an issue with Makumalo, she has met Makumalo before, Bebegamselegu, Mzumbe, obviously she's friends with Umayeni. So fine, cool, they hang out, Papile, Makumalo, she didn't have a problem with them, they're talking, they're having fun, all of them, Mayen is there, Makumalo is there. So she's thinking, even though they're not best friends, but that's not an issue. So Uta, the next thing she sees Umakumalo is Umakumalo coming for an interview. You remember what we picked up on that Vuma FM because on this channel we pick up on these things. So the next thing they meet Umakumalo coming for an interview with Vuma FM. Uthi phela yena ulindele ukuthi umuntu is still going to be friendly and all of that, but she's not. Uthi umuntu uhlinile ngathi akamazi ngathi akaze azambone. Ukuthi manje ngimangele ukuthi hawu, okay, does that mean ukuthi she was pretending ngenkathi ngimbona, you know, laphayana kamayeni? It was because there was a lot of people, so she was just pretending to be friendly. Abantu bahlezi bengi-attack-a when I say ukuthi uMakhumalo is F-A-K-E. Makhumalo is not genuine, guys, a lot of the times. And I think what this show might possibly expose her. And so we are sure. So I was like, oh, okay, she's Slim. I mean, when there are people around, you're going to be friendly to me. But when we meet in a crooked places, we are. So she's like, and then the next thing, we invite her to your black tie event. Why? That's Slim. I mean, and she says she's going to have a conversation with Makumal and tell her what, I'm Slim, are you friendly to me or not? Because, you know. Yeah, I guess my boss's position was if you guys are going to be spending time together, maybe it's worth you having a conversation with her to say, what's up? We're going to be spending time together. Ngapha, if there are people around, we are hlenga but if there's no one around, we are hlina, what's isha? Yeah. So yeah, that was the thing. That's how she explains it. I mean, if that's what happened, I guess I could understand why she has an issue. But yeah, we haven't had decided on Makumalo at this point. And the next thing was just Makumalo going on like these massages with Upilo, remembering Aneake Upilo. She's just finished with exams. She was just updating Umawake about school and about boys, and they were talking about how Ulona has had some uh, self-esteem issues and stuff. So yeah, they were just talking about that. And then the next thing, also is she renovating her house, guys? Were you clear on that? Because I wasn't sure whether it's the old house that is being renovated or they got a new house. But they're doing something in her closet and they're doing something in her bathrooms. And the bathroom yake has two toilets. I have heard with rich people, that's what they do. They say the secret to a happy marriage is two separate toilets with your husband. Hey, no, yeah. As a clean band, oh, but rich man, so it doesn't you don't clean them all. Because for me, like one toilet is enough when it comes to cleaning. So yeah, she's just talking about that. She talks about the fact that she's with O'Neill and Braun. I don't know if O'Neill and Braun are partners or they're just friends. They didn't say O'Neill and Braun are her friends. Remember Neil? She went with Neil to that event, yeah, Black Tie. So she talks about the event, which she's going to have a Halloween party. I don't know why South Africans are doing Halloween parties, but it seems to be the thing right now. And yeah, she's inviting them. So yeah. And then the next scene was Jojo and her husband, Jojo and Kevin. Guys, this is like the best couple in this season, Jojo and Kevin. They talk about the event and talk about what Junonko says. And so Jojo is explaining what was making her so upset. She was basically triggered on that table when Unonko said, "Black men cheat and white men buy," you know. And I like Kevin because I feel like she brings like a mature balance to Jojo because he was like, listen, I understand you saying you were offended by the statement, but also understand that people have had different experiences in relationships. And what you believe about relationship is because of the experiences that you have had in relationships. And what she believes about relationships because of the experiences that she has had in relationships. So maybe you need to hear her out. I like that about Kevin because Omu Ubezo, yeah, why did she say that? I mean, I'm a white guy. Why did she say, I don't buy from prostitutes? So why would you say that I'm buying? But he was like, no, just understand that it's her perspective. It has nothing to do with you. And really, honestly, it wasn't right for you to tell her to shut up. You see now, even Kevin, at the table, he didn't say anything when Jojo said shut up. But at home, he's like, you can't be telling people to shut up. Jojo is like, guys, I didn't say shut the F up. I just said shut up. So it wasn't rude. It wasn't rude. She was, but yeah, they also, so I think everybody wants to make sure that their husbands understand that, listen, just because don't be thinking you're going to take another wife, but because Jojo now will make sure, just like Sorisha did, she makes sure that the husband understands that that is not an option over here. He's like, and then Kevin is like, yeah, you know what? You are enough for me. Church is like, imagine if I had to share your credit card with somebody. Yeah, I find Jojo to be funny, guys. And then the next thing was Uma Kumaro went to visit Sorisha. They were going to take a walk and walk the dogs. But she was wearing heels. Makumalo always looks proper. I don't know if she knew they were going to take a walk or she just felt they were going to Sorisha's house, they were going to stay in the house. But Sorisha is there with her 100 dogs, and there's a dog that needs a stroller, might have to walk. And asked Makumalo, she was like, can you get the stroller for the dog and whatever? Listen, guys, I have an issue with Uktunya. And I have an issue with Uktunya Umuntu of another race. It triggers me. Like I wouldn't have fetched the stroller. So it triggered me when I'm like, hi, Muso Shagazladel Ngani stroller sack. But then I understood which she was holding the other dogs. And I think in the interview, even though bangasitshela ukuthi usuke ebizeni lo muntu obabuza umbuzo, I think in the interview they asked uMakhumalo ukuthi how did you feel about, because ulona uSolisa said, I think you're gonna be the one ozoqhuba istroller sifakwe inja iqhutshwa ngestroller. Hey, yeah, rich people's problems. So, and then I think they had asked Khumalo. And guys, listen, yabona le show lena, yabona le show, Khumalo must stay in this show because one day we're gonna meet the real Makhumalo, I promise you. Because her reaction to the question was like, almost like she is irritated. But then when she answers the question, she answers it like nice. I really, really like dogs, so I really didn't mind and whatnot. This show is going to expose Umakumalo, like not in a bad way, but I think it's going to show us the real, whether she likes it or not, because they show us between, and the behind and the under. Enganakile yena. So there, when she's with Story, she's like, I don't mind, I like dogs, and she's Ukuba is trolling. I did get a little bit like, oh no, like if I've never had a baby and I've struggled to have a baby, and then nakulana ngizoqhutshisa istroller esininja phakathi, beyizothi kancane in my heart. But uMakhumalo is like, I don't mind. It did give me that. It was maybe. It's not a thing. But I don't think Sorisha knows about that struggles Kamakumalo Songayitholi ngane. So I don't think that it was intentional in any way. I don't think that it was shady in any way. I just felt like, oh, yeah. I didn't feel I love the dogs thing, Kamakumala. I didn't feel like it was real, but maybe she does. So where are the dogs? If she loves dogs, we've never seen it. Does she have dogs in her house? I don't know. But yeah, they just have a conversation with Ulona, Sorisha. So uyabuza makhulu, did you tell them ukuthi na besike sakhuluma? Bayithi beke bakhuluma. I was like, you know what? Did Sorisha talk to Makumalo about Makumalo coming to the show, or they just said that they've had a conversation? I wasn't clear on that. Sorisha, no, but bakhuluma before. Sorisha, it seemed to the other women that she was being secretive to them, and yeah, she wasn't being honest to them because akabatshelanga ukuthi uMakhumalo who is coming. Kanti naye ngathi she was surprised with Makumalo that is coming, but she had spoken to Makumalo before. Okay. And so uyabuza-ke nje about her relationship with uLachoncho. UMakhumalo explains the same thing. No, I've met her. I know her from ukuthi umngani kaMayeni. She was at her. She's come to our house before, eMzumbe, and but she doesn't mention the Vuma FM thing when it comes to her and uLachoncho. And then she says, hey, I hope I didn't offend anyone. Uthi yena uMakhumalo, okay, number one, she didn't have any issues with Lulachoncho, but she was surprised at the way that Lulachoncho responded to her when it came to issue Tembo. And uthi uMakhumalo, she didn't know his status relationship yakhe with the former president. Girl, I don't believe you. But yeah, maybe you didn't usho kanjalo. And she's hoping she didn't offend any. And then ulona uSolisha ke she was trying to tell her ukuthi no, you know what, we respect you, we like you, but akungabi yinto that you kind of force on people or push on people or encourage people to do it. Because even uLondi London, when they were still at the event, she was like, ayi labantu bazosihlesa kabi lana because naba manje ngathi baphusha ama-husbands ethu ukuthi acabanga ukuthatha amanye amakhosikazi. So Umakumala is like, oh, you would never, I could never encourage anybody to do it. She says it wasn't her intention to encourage anyone to do ilokuzana to take ilokuzi thembu. But she's hoping nobody is offended by her. After they walk here, but she says, well, no, it looks good between her and Ulokuzana. Also, Risha, she can't say that they are friends yet, but there's potential. Okay, and then the next scene, guys, are like the favorites. Like they could have just played this scene for this episode, and it would have been enough for me. This was my episode for today. There was a scene between Jojo and Unonku. Number one, I like ukuthi Jojo and listen to her husband when her husband said, you know what, sometimes you need to look at listen to what the person's experience is to understand why they will have such an opinion when it comes to relationships, which prompted Jojo to call Unonku and arrange for them to go quad biking and invited her. They went and they had a nice, ride to the, well, it's not mountains, to the hills. I don't know where they were, but then they sit down to talk. So then they're trying to understand each other. So Unoko is like, I hope you were not offended by what I said. And George was like, no, I was offended. Unoko was trying to explain, listen, I'm just saying it is what I believe that every man cheats. I'm not saying that Kevin has cheated on you, but I'm saying he has probably cheated sometime in his lifetime. That's all that I'm saying. And George is trying to explain her life. You can't be, as a single woman, be telling us something like that when we are married, because we are still married, we are still happily married. You are the one that's probably not doing something right. So Unongo is saying she was offended by the fact that Jojo said, oh, that's probably why you are still single. And Jojo is like, no, but that was just because we were having fighting words. It wasn't like I wanted to offend you, but it was just because at that time, there's no tension. So And then, yeah, Ujojo tries to explain her experience in relationships. She started talking about her relationship. She told Nogu she was married before Kelvin, which I didn't know. Kelvin is like her second husband. She was married. It was in a really like uh, physically abusive relationship. She talks about being spat on. She talked about being kicked. She talked about this ex-husband of hers never used to take her out. This one day, he calls her and tells her, "I'm taking you out today. Get ready." She comes back from work, gets ready, spends an hour or two getting ready. Mayebuya lona uhusband wakhe ubuya with a group of friends endlini, and she's surprised, "How we going out? Why are you here with your friend?" And she's like, "You really thought I was going to take you out today?" And he laughed so hard. He's like, "Bitch, go back in the house." She talks about one day waking up in the middle of the night, her husband pacing like in their room, pacing over her with a knife behind his back, and they had a big fight, and she thought she was going to lose her life. And she talks about at some point she tried to commit suicide. She took these pills that make your heart race, and her husband didn't care, just dragged her to the dining room and called his sister to come rescue him. And she was getting really emotional. Oh, it's horrible, guys. I'm not the one that get emotional about it. That's why I'm telling this part of it the way that I'm telling it, because it really was hard. I think it's worth for every woman to watch that part, especially women that are in abusive relationships. If you can get that click, just watch it. And honestly, if you look at Jojo, I just thought Jojo is like a spoiled wife who gets everything, who has a Rolex, honey, who's never late because she has a Rolex. So you would never think about what people have gone through. So I never knew that she had gone through that. Even Unoku never knew. So Unoku and I started talking about her own relationship and just saying that sometimes she doesn't feel like she deserves to be loved, that she will ever find somebody to love her, and how even now, even though she's out of that relationship, but it hasn't stopped being abusive because her husband lives in the house that they lived in. He doesn't want to move out, but he doesn't want to pay for the house. He doesn't do anything for the kids. So it sounds like Nobu is going through a lot. And like Josh was very encouraged, very understanding. He was like, what, girl, if you still want love, you will still get it. Don't be giving up on it. And who says was when she was watching Jojo with her husband, she was like, "Ubehala," because she doesn't know any love like that. Like when Jojo was sitting on her husband's lap, and she says she doesn't know Lola Tando Lilian. And Jojo was just telling her, "Listen, girl, your journey hasn't even begun." And Nami, I thought my life was over. I was ready to take my own life because I just couldn't take it. So you never know. It really was such a great conversation between two women who just decided to be matured about their misunderstanding and say, "Listen here, we are not hearing each other. Let's go, let's be away from the group and try and hear each other." I loved that conversation. I cried when I watched that conversation, and they encouraged each other. They hugged at the end. So I guess the issue between Ujojo and Ulona is sorted. The next thing, guys, there's no episode without the Queen. Did you think we're going to go through Real Housewives of Durban episode without the Queen? The Queen showed up. She shows up every episode. Umaganongo will be showing up in every episode. In this particular one, they are meeting at a restaurant that Annie's husband is just acquired. Annie's husband is out here taking over Devin, honey. He is. So, okay, they are going to meet Ulondi, Beno, and they are going to meet with Unonku. But I guess Unonku was like, you know what? Lama, they think they're going to be teaming against me. I am bringing the queen. So she showed up with the queen. They were surprised when she was there. And I guess they're trying to find, it's going to be so embarrassing for Annie Nolondi when they find this out, because they're trying to convince Umangano said, you guys are beautiful, but not up here. They were trying to talk about that situation. And Unongo is telling them, guys, that is not what my mother said. You can say anything about my mother, but that is not what she said. And the night, guys, viewers sitting at home watching that episode, we are like, that is not what she said. And you are going to be embarrassed to find out that is not what this woman said. Guys, Maganoko can be anything. She can be irritating or whatever, but that is not what she said. She didn't say that those women were empty up here. She didn't. She said, "Nibahle," but not like this one, meaning herself. And Unongo is trying to explain it. She's saying, I don't even need an apology from you, no, when but I'm just telling you that is not what my mother said. And one day uzobona ukuthi that's not what my mother said. Ulonde ufakazela u-Anne ukuthi no, that's what the mother said. She was like, I even looked at her like, how mama ukusholani lokho? Akashongo njalo Nkosi yami. And yeah, but that was the understanding. Umanoko ended up being upset, and she's like, you know what, and you're going to live a very miserable life. Angazi ukuthi what she means. I wish she had elaborated. Maybe kuzoqhubeka in the next episode because episode yesiphele lapho. Because Shumanoko is saying there is no way that I could say women are empty up here. Ngubani? I would never say something like that. And Annie Nolondi, I just stuck on Mina because at some point I would just say, you know what, guys, because I know this thing is gonna be on TV. I think sometimes they forget. Mina, if I was in that situation, even if I'm convinced that's what she said, I would just say, you know what, guys, if you said that's not what she said, I'm sorry, I misunderstood, and leave it like that, and wait for the episode to play so that I can be proven right. But when they are insisting as if they are 100% sure when they have heard, because even if Sorisa said, no, guys, that's not what I heard. But when they think the mother said that, they are insisting, which is something that is going to play out on TV anyway. We born which wrong. So anyway, yeah, but at the end there was it. I don't think it was a name. U-Annie Beno Nukude ever gonna get along because there is also a scene where Annie and her husband are sitting down talking about the event as well. And while they're talking about it, they talk about indaba yesithembu and uyasho naye lana uGuru ukuthi okay yena she feels like u-Annie is enough. It's not something that she would do. That it's just for certain people. Just having one relationship is a lot of work. I think so too. One relationship is a lot of work for you to just decide because you're going to have many of them. And she also says ukuthi she didn't like what Unonko said. How can you say that at that setting? Black guys this, white guys this, when you're sitting with black guys and white guys, people that believe in love, and you say that about everybody. He didn't think it was appropriate, but he's made a decision. He would say if there's a dinner or whatever and you know who is there, he's not gonna come. He must be told so he doesn't go. So it looks like just like Annie's husband doesn't like Unonko. And yeah, so I don't think that they're ever going to be friends, Uben or any. And it's unfortunately really because I think they could really make good friends. And yeah, he was irritated by it. He was, as a women. But guys, yeah, here is today's episode. For me, the highlights was just the conversation got Jojo and Nonku. I really think that I love when these women go real because we do say it's a reality show, but it's more of a show than real. So I think that in this episode, it was more real than a show. Thank you so much for watching this video and tell me what you think about it in the comment section. Don't forget to like it and share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers.